And a shocking random attack in New York City. Surveillance video shows a student walking to class on Monday morning at NYU, and then you see somebody creep up from behind and hit her, and then pull her by the hair to the ground. Alexis McAdams is live in New York's Greenwich Village with more. Hi, Alexis. Good morning.
Dana, good morning. Well, we walk around New York City all the time, and you know you got to keep your head on a swivel. In this case, the girl had no idea it was coming. The guy was watching her, according to police, and it happened right here on this sidewalk behind me. Now we're learning he has quite the rap sheet. We're talking 16 times and counting here as he's really been racking them up. This is James Rizzo on your screen. He was charged with persistent sexual abuse, forcible touching, and assault. The 45-year-old man, who a police source tells me is homeless, has a history of committing sex crimes, but hey, he was right back out on the street in New York City. The 45-year-old was just released from jail back in September after serving time for a similar charge. So now police say he attacked a 20-year-old NYU student as she was walking to class on Monday morning. She had her backpack, she had her headphones, she thought she was just going to make it to class safely, but her campus is New York City, so you never know what's going to happen. Amelia Lewis says the guy ran up behind her, he slapped her, he pulled her hair, and he knocked her right to the ground. Lewis shared her story as a warning to other students. Listen.
I am a student at NYU. I should not be scared to be walking the street to go to my 9:30 a.m. class. These people are disgusting, and they should not be able to be walking around the street freely, targeting girls and doing this. This just shows that you really need to reflect on who you're voting for and supporting right now, because New York needs help, and we're just not getting the help we need.
NYU says it's deeply disturbed by this attack that was caught on camera and went viral online. It's offering support to this student. It comes as investigators tell me Rizzo could be linked to other similar attacks just like this in the area. So to be continued. Also, just weeks ago, if you remember this, it's hard to forget these New York Post front pages, Dana. It says Washington Square Park. It was after a huge bust by the DEA there. The New York Post calling the once clean park Washington Square Park instead of Washington Square Park because of that DEA bust. Back out here live, we can tell you that was just one of the issues that happens in this area. It's a nice area, Greenwich Village, right near the NYU campus, but they've got the drug problem, they've got the homeless problem. So students say, give us more security. We pay a lot to go here. Dana.
We certainly do. Thank you, Alexis.
When the President of the United States sets up and tweets 150 times after midnight and targets certain people, it's not a coincidence that they're targeting Minnesota. If they want to help us, I welcome that. I think they do an investigation, find out, but I don't think anybody in here really believes their motive and their timing is about actually doing something about this.
Okay, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz now the center of a growing scandal as federal prosecutors unravel one of the nation's largest cases of COVID-era fraud. Talking about $1 billion, but apparently, at least last night, the network evening newscast did not cover it. Martha MacCallum anchors the story, 3 o'clock Eastern. She's here to cover it. Hello to you. We talked to Tom Emmer, Republican from Minnesota, last hour. Here's how he framed it with us here. Watch.
This idea that it's not going to al-Shabaab, they're sending the money back to Somalia, Bill. People should understand, al-Shabaab controls the financial infrastructure in Somalia. It is going back to Somalia where al-Shabaab, the terrorist organization, is in charge.
All right, apparently front page story for the New York Times on Saturday, I do believe, but not good enough last night apparently. And Emmer says $1 billion plus gone.
Well, you have to sort of look at the same scenario that led to it not being discussed prior to the selection of Governor Walz. It wasn't covered when all of this was coming out. You know, you had all of these whistleblowers in this housing stability group that were talking about this during the presidential election. And he was chosen, Governor Walz was chosen over the concerns of this. So this is clearly a story. It's clearly a story that was not covered to the extent that it should have been during the presidential election. You know, the other element here is this issue of this of the treatment of Somalis in Minnesota. And to me, it's like, you know, you have people who have been convicted. So that's what the focus is. These people have been convicted of crimes. A lot of it appears to have gone towards cars and luxury items. The Treasury Department will do an investigation and see whether or not this goes back to al-Shabaab. But the most important thing is that you have criminals that you're dealing with here and that they need to be convicted. And the governor should never have swept this under the rug for potentially political reasons because he didn't want to irritate that group.
Right. And also the media doesn't do the Democrats any favors by ignoring it because it shows that they can't really even police their own.
Absolutely
On the New York City crime, now here you have some decreases from November 25 to 24, murder being down, burglary slightly down, robbery down total. But there is still this feeling of unease in the city because you have what that young woman from New York, from NYU went through, because you have people out on the street that have long rap sheets, that are violent people, and they're just out there. We have no protection from them.
Well, they need to be taken off the streets, and especially if it turns out that this individual, as Alexis was reporting, has many prior offenses along the same lines. Now, Commissioner Tisch and Mayor Adams were working hard to clear people who were mentally disturbed off the street, and they pushed for the city council to approve involuntary commitment. If someone is not safe on the street, they need to be in an institution. And this is an idea that used to be pervasive in the city years ago. Yeah. And now it's, it has run into this opposition, but look at what's happening. Look what's happening.
Yeah, front page New York Post today. New York City violent crime finally hitting all-time low. So don't blow it, Zoe. We'll find out less than 30 days what his plan will be for this. And it's going to be something we're going to be watching every
I asked him about a man who was beaten to death in the subway when I spoke with Mr. Mamdani. And he said, I said, well, he had been, convicted of another crime or was being investigated for another crime. And he said 14 times. I said, what did you do to get this guy off the street? He said, well, it would never have happened, all those crimes, because we would have had services that would have intervened a long, long time ago. So I'd love to know today what his recommendation is for this man.
Right. Martha, thanks. We'll see you at 3 o'clock. This story.
Thank you much.
Who knows what will happen by then?
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.